Hey y'all, it has been a minute since why do I have that so close to my face? It has been a minute since I've made a video. I just finished a shadow work meditation. I actually did two of them back to back, and one of the themes that like kept coming up was okay. Well, let me say this first. So in the meditation, the guy asks the question, who were you before they told you who to be? Right? Who were you before they told you who to be? And as I was sitting with that, one of the things that came up, one of the words that came up was quiet. I remember being like quiet as a kid, as a child, but then I also remember being like very talkative. Another thing that also came up was performative. And so that's that talkative part of me. I used to love to dance. More specifically, at that time when I was a little girl, it was tap dancing. My mom had enrolled me into a dance school called All That Dance, and one of the classes that I was taking was tap. So I would like put my tap shoes on and I would scuff my mama floors up. Like I would like, mommy, pay attention to me, pay attention to me. And in the beginning, I remember my mom like really paying attention to me. But as I got older, my mom, she started dealing with her own mental issues and things that she was trying to work through. And she just didn't have the capacity to deal with me and my mommy, pay attention to me. You know, she wasn't interested in me scuffing up her floors anymore, wasn't cute anymore. So, I but I still try. Like I would always try to get my mom to pay attention to me. I remember this had to be like 1995, 96, because Brandy was out. And when I was a little girl, I was obsessed with Brandy. I wanted to be Brandy Gaga. So I just remember standing outside my mom's door and like crying, and I was singing Baby by Brandy, baby, 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 baby. Girl, I was singing my heart out, and my mom was in her room. I can't even remember if my dad was in the room, my mom. I just know my mother was in that room, and she was just like reading. And I just remember, like, I didn't give up. I just stayed outside the door, and I kept on singing. And I never forget my cousin. He was standing next to me. He was like, "Come on." He was like, Auntie, she out here singing." Like, he was trying, like, to, like, promote me and get my mother to come out there. Y'all, my mother was not beat. Like, my mom, she was in her own world. And I just kept on trying to, like, perform for my mom and get my mom to, like, love me and pay attention to me. But my mom was going through some shit. Like, my dad was a piece of work. And I was just like a casualty in their bullshit that they were dealing with. Then another thing in the meditation came up with being performative was my dad. Growing up, so my dad had 10 siblings, and my grandmother had more than one baby daddy, and you know how that goes. My grandmother was also a very tall woman. My grandmother, I want to say maybe 6 feet, and I'm 5'9". Well, actually 5'8", but I'm 5'9" because I like being tall. But my grandmama was a tall lady with all these kids and multiple baby daddies, so she wasn't quote unquote desirable. They didn't always have money. My dad grew up poor, and they used to make fun of them and call them dirty, but you couldn't beat them up though. But yeah, my dad grew up poor, and so and they pick with him, they tease them. So he developed this persona where he's gonna be the funny one, right? because that's how you keep people off of you. That's exactly how I was growing up. That's exactly how my brothers were growing up. Just, you keep people off of you. So my dad became the funny one. He got a job while some of his siblings, my uncles. This is in the '80s, so this is the crack epidemic. So some of my uncles, they out in these streets, and my dad, he was like, "Nah, I'm going to work," and he brought clothes because he used to wear like a shoestring for a belt, and so he brought clothes, and he built himself up, and he made a name for himself, like, by his fashion, and he like, they ain't gonna make fun of me now, they ain't gonna bully me now. And then the next thing was getting the girls, because who doesn't love a fucking misogynist? Who doesn't love a womanizer, right? So now he develops his persona. Now he's being performative. Now people are liking him. Now people are accepting him. Eventually, my dad starts to like throw all of these parties, and so now he's known in the community for throwing all these parties. He's known being a guy that drives around in the fancy cars with the bad light skinned Spanish females in the cars. So now that he's created this person, it's like everybody likes me. Now everybody is accepting of me. I sat with that, and I sat with that, and I really, 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 really sat with that person, that that persona, that mask, that character that my dad created, to be accepted by people, to keep people from bullying him, for so people can respect him. Like, do you see me now? Like, I felt so small, and now that I have this money, and now that I have the bitches, like, now that I'm having these parties, you guys, you like me, you accept me. That is exactly where I'm at right now in my life. I am working through that. All those masks that I had to wear, being so performative so people can accept me, so people can like me, so people can love me. It was rooted in my childhood. It was rooted in having a mother who, she just didn't have the capacity. And in my mind, I was like, maybe it's something that I did wrong. That's why she don't like me. Like, if I just keep performing for her, she'll like me. That's exactly how it showed up in a lot of my relationships, whether they were romantic relationships or platonic relationships, just friendships. I was always being performative so these people can accept and like me. I would have these parties growing up, and it would be kids from the neighborhood that, first of all, I didn't go to school. I didn't go to school with them. We didn't hang in the same circle. Like, to them, I was like a loser and a nerd. Like, but I would have these parties so these people could come to my house just so they could fucking make me feel unsafe in my own space. Just so they could bully me and make me feel unsafe in my own space. And it wasn't all the time. Like, sometimes they were nice, but it was like, I'm allowing these people in my space. I'm allowing these people to come into my party, and you don't even like me. I am performing.